Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julius, President of Arlington Branch NAACP. Want to invite you to our November 2022 general membership meeting, which is also open to the public. That's how we do here at the NAACP. First thing, as we always do, we're going to open up with a word of prayer from our Religious Affairs Committee. So I think we have Sister Dunkley, you're with us? All right, please, could you lead us in a moment of prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, once more again, God, we come and say thank you for another day. Thank you for watching over us, Father God. Thank you for keeping us, Father. Oh, Father God, as we prepare to go into this meeting tonight, Father God, let everything be done decently and in order, God. Oh, God, continue to bless the president, Father God. Continue to bless the nation, Father God. Bless each and every one that's on Zoom on tonight, God. Oh, Father God, be with us as we study whatever we need to study on tonight, Father. This is my prayer in Jesus' name that I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go with the most of you, if you should have received our agenda and everything for tonight. So we're going to launch a poll because we suspend the rules. Let me go here to our polls. Okay. Okay, this poll that I'm going to launch, if you're a member, please vote. Yay, nay, abstain. If you're not a member, you can just click not a guest. All right, I'm going to launch this, and this is to suspend normal rules and to accept the agenda for tonight's meeting. Poll is being launched. I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds. Okay, we're going to end the poll. Share the results. Madam Secretary, do you see the results there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead next with our financial report. Let me see here. Remove the spotlight. Mr. Treasurer, is our treasurer with us? Yes. Oh, excuse me. Before I get to the treasury report, I'm getting a little, see, I'm so eager. Madam Secretary, roll call of officers.
We have President Spain, who's present.
Yes.
Third Vice President Michael Heminger.
Present.
And our second Vice President will not be attending today. Treasurer Roy Austin.
He's present.
Assistant Treasurer Adriana. Thank you. Assistant Treasurer Adriana Spain.
She's on travel, will not be present tonight.
Secretary Wanda Younger present. Assistant Secretary Laurel Langhorne will not be present. Executive Committee at Large Karen Nightingale. Executive Committee at Large James Younger.
Present.
And Executive Committee at Large Simone Walker will not be present. Communications, Leah Matterall. Criminal Justice, Heather Kelly.
Present.
Economic Development and Labor, Megan Brew.
Here.
Economic Development and Labor, Maya Jones. Environmental and Climate Justice, Kenyatta Clemens.
I think she's present.
Environmental and Climate Justice, Ron Haddix.
Present.
Housing, Kellen Macbeth. Housing, I'm sorry.
I think Kellen may be out.
Okay. Housing, Brian Coleman.
Please mute yourself, everyone. Brian is recovering from surgery.
And I believe
Present.
he's on the call. Okay.
Oh, he's there.
Yes. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Political Action, Jamie Abrams.
She will not be with us tonight.
Political Action, Megan Razor.
Present.
Religious Affairs, Pastor Davis. Religious Affairs, Rosa Dunkley is present. Scholarship, Adora Williams. And that concludes the roll call.
Okay, let me get a few things up here and running. think we're good here. Close this. Okay, Mr. Treasurer, are you prepared? Are you ready for your report?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's get you started here.
Okay. The financial report for September 2022 is as follows. There was no activity in the business savings account. In that account, the beginning balance was $341.39, and that is the ending balance. In our business checking account, there was one deposit totaling $105.84, 15 withdrawals totaling $29,564.39. The ending of balance in that account, $47,286.42. The majority of the checks written were for scholarship payments. The account balance total for September 2022, $343,627.81. That concludes this report.
Okay, members of the executive committee and general members, you've heard the reading of our treasurer's report. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? All right, yeah, as you notice there, I'm gonna order the treasury report filed and prepared for audit. We have had, as you can see, a significant number of withdrawals in this past month, and as the treasurer noted, those withdrawals were for our scholarships, right? Scholarships. So that's a good thing, and got that money paid out to all of our scholars for this year. All right, so thank you, Mr. Treasurer, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to our scholarship program over the years. Okay, next item on the agenda, this is a time when the president, I probably won't be with you too long, but I'm going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to go over the branch election results. And we'll probably I'll be ahead of schedule, and we'll use a good bit of this time to talk about another issue on the agenda, which is a resolution by the CIVFED. And I will, again, speak briefly about that. It has been shared with many of you on this call and with our entire distribution list. And then we'll go into hearing a presentation from Moms Demand Action, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and then we'll have some updates from our committees. So let me go ahead and do what I do as president and converse with all of you as members and friends. So, as you know, we are, coming to the end of this administration. It is next month ends our 2-year terms. We've had our elections, and we had pretty good participation. National NAACP conducted the elections. So, and I will talk a little bit later about who are the electees coming into office, right? Those electees terms will not begin until January, right? But we will swear them in December, right? And before I close out and I leave, of course, I will share with you some reflection over the past couple years. But trust you me, I'm a Gold Life member of the NAACP. Gold Life. And what that means is I'm in it for the long haul. Just because I don't hold a position does not mean I will not be involved with our NAACP. That's just how I operate. And I've been in this thing since I was 19 years old. All right, so I'm not going anywhere. We have had some challenges in our community. But we are very pleased with the turnout, whether it was Sunday voting, get out the vote, or people getting out and just exercising their right. As you know, the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. And one thing we will not do, and that's per our charter and bylaws, is that we don't endorse as an organization any particular candidate. We encourage everyone, regardless of their political affiliation, to get out and exercise their right and be involved in the political process. We also are on the front line as it comes to social justice, civil rights, discrimination, regardless of race, color, creed, and religion. And that's our charge. We have had a lot of conversation about missing middle. You'll hear from our team here a little bit later, and where that's at. That took up a lot of the oxygen in the room the past several months. We at the NAACP remain firm and stand on principle, which is the NAACP shall and will oppose any policy in housing that is restrictive in nature. Thus, exclusionary zoning is just that. And that's the charge of national NAACP and our branch. So I quickly tell folks, again, this is not Julius Spain or anyone else endeavor. This is a policy that's been around before we've had this conversation about missing middle, because we know the history of exclusionary zoning, not just here in Arlington, but across America. So I think we're at a point where, as a community, the community will make a decision. The elected officials will have to set the course. We're not there yet. Passing it in this current form is nowhere close to being over, I believe. It's a process. As many years as it took to get us into this dark place, and toxicity and divisiveness in our community, pitting folks against each other. I'm not going to say it's going to take that long to get us out of it, but we have some challenges. I'm a single family homeowner in Arlington, right? And my opinion on who can live to the next left and right of me is different from other folks. Maybe it's because I'm well traveled. Maybe it's because I really didn't have anything coming up and I find myself in a place where I feel I'm privileged now. That's being quite honest. But I haven't forgot where I came from. And I know that there's other folks that are striving to get here. And I'm not going to put up a barrier for them not to achieve their American dream. And their American dream may be 1,000 square foot place in a quadplex, right? That may be all they want. But there are a number of people in our community, and this is just JD's perspective, so don't take this as the gospel, but I know there's a number of people who have come to me, and I just turned 50, but I have a 29, a 28, and a 24-year-old. And I had a good friend of mine come to me and say, you know what, JD, you know who convinced me to support missing middle after all this nonsense and I was against it? Was my 25-year-old son, who's now living back in the house with me because he can't find a place to live. I said, that's what it took. Guess what? And so look, everyone has a story. That's housing. Public safety, we stay on the battlefield with public safety and security. We have some work to do. The jury is still out, just to use that phrase, as it relates to deaths in jail. The Becton case, as many of you know about, that is being pursued by the family in a $10 million lawsuit. That's not over. It's not over because no one's been held accountable for the death, the tragic death of that man. And then there's a question about the 6 others. So 7 and 7 years. And what bothers me as a leader is that it seems as though this community has just forgot about it in large part. Yet those men who had children, family, are not coming back. And everyone has, a lot of folks have just politicized it and made excuses. But that's not over. Trust me. People will be held accountable for their failures. The environment, the economy, all things aside, we know there's a number of issues where your NAACP has been involved in. We're in conversations right now with Eco Action as far as trees, tree canopy, There's going to be some opportunity for individuals to sign up through our faith partners. If you want trees planted in the first part of the year, there's a process. Fill your yards with trees, y'all, if you can. We love the environment, but at the same time, we're gonna protect our environment as well. All right, we know about heat deserts and stormwater, issues that are going on in Arlington in certain parts, and we also know about people might say food deserts exist, but there's that as well. All right, so there's a lot as it relates to so many issues that the NAACP is involved in, and we will continue to be involved in over the next couple of weeks and years. Next month, we're going to have our virtual Freedom Fund banquet. And if you have not already done so, I would encourage you to please pay $30 and get a ticket. We have the vice chair of the NAACP Board of Directors, no one other than Karen Boykin-Towns. She's the number 2 in the NAACP. She will be coming, she will be with us in our virtual environment. So come hear what she has to say as we spend some time together and reflect and get some inspiration for 2023. All right, the last thing I'm let me bring up here, get my screen set. I'll move down here. I know we're on a time to the election results. Let me go here. And I'm not going to talk too much about the election results because if you voted, you should have got a copy of this. These are our election results. President-elect is going to be Michael Heminger. Our first vice president, James Younger. Brian Coleman, second. Aurel Langhorne. Wanda Younger, secretary, and goes on. Assistant Secretary, Kathleen McSweeney. Treasurer, Adriana Spain. Assistant Treasurer, Kenya Pennington, Executive Committee at large, Nadia Conyers, Kelly Macbeth, and Karen Nightingale. I think for now, before we get into next month and we give them opportunity to talk, let's all give them a virtual round of applause and thank them for willingness to step up. Right? And it wasn't hard. That's a solid team right there, y'all. I'm gonna tell you right now, Arlington better watch out. That's all I got to say, because you think JD did some stuff in the team. Those folks right there are ready to go. And what gives me goosebumps is that they're not no ageism here, but I just told you I'm 50. They're young, they're full of energy. But they do have some wisdom in James Younger, who's going to keep them straight as the first VP, right? So we're going to be fine. And I look forward to that team doing great things. All right. So for the next couple minutes, and before we take a vote, I'm going to share something with you. Let me get my screen back up. So last week, our friends over at the CIVFED, and this has been out since September, they started this journey. A little bit more, but there's a resolution that was discussed. It's called, restoring public confidence in Arlington's county government.
President Spain, the election results are still showing.
It's fine, but you can see some other stuff. You can see what I'm talking about here, right? Wanda, can you see the discussion? Is that it? Let me try it one more time.
Okay.
Let me pull this up. Can you see this now, Wanda? Wanda, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this was shared with everyone. So I'm not going to spend all the time going through this. If you have not already done so, I would encourage you as members, one, to read this resolution. This is a resolution that has been drafted by the CIVFED. They've been working on it a couple of months. They've got some input already. It was put out there in September. I attended, along with a few others on our call, attended the CIVFED meeting last week. And as you know, we have 4 delegates to the CIVFED, right? But what I want to point out, many of you have, let me pull up this appendix. Many individuals at the NAACP have reached out to me by text, by email, and what you need to pay strict attention to, in my opinion, and think about in the holistic view is look at not only the resolution, but also the appendix and what is laid out here as it relates to a recommendation in this resolution, right? So this resolution to restore the public's confidence in Arlington County governance, I'm not here to speak about for the CIVFED. They have an open meeting like everyone else. We're just delegates. But we are going to, and what right now, my position outside of the general membership and the executive committee is that I'm not comfortable with the current state, given the input that I have received. But in full transparency, because this is not my show, right? You need to read this. You need to go over this. If you want to involve yourself and help with CIVFED or attend their meetings, please do so. But there's members of your executive committee, there's members and allies in this community that have a lot of reservations about the current form of this resolution, and that we want to give everyone an opportunity to weigh in on this, because this is significant. And CIVFED, as you know, has been around a whole lot longer than the NAACP, but we want to work together in unity. But there's a lot of issues here that we need to address, give some recommendations to CIVFED, I feel, and we need to. I met, I attended the meeting last week. I listened, the meeting being the CIVFED. I went to the board meeting yesterday, and they, as a delegate, they allowed me to say a few words. I heard from some of the originators of the resolution. And I also met with the president today. We were supposed to meet a long time ago, but I guess things happen for a reason. And we just had a conversation as leaders. So we're not in a position to support the resolution as it is right now. And so you have it. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to take a vote from the membership, and the vote is not to approve or disapprove the resolution. Keep in mind, outside of a meeting of the general body, outside of the meeting of an executive committee, per the Constitution of the NAACP, the president can make the call on any decision of an NAACP branch, subject to ratification by the executive committee and membership. So we have some time now, because it looks as though CIVFED is not going to go forward with a vote per se in December. It's going to happen in February, right? So we have some time for you to look at this, get back with us. And this is what the from the membership, this is what your, let me launch this. This is what the question to the membership is going to be. Recommend to the NAACP membership executive committee that we research, review, and make recommendation to the general membership to take a formal position on the Arlington CIVFED resolution and appendix titled Resolution to Restore Public Confidence in Arlington County Governance. Due to the MLK holiday, the vote will occur at the general membership meeting on the 5th Monday of January 30th, 2023. Remember, we don't meet the 3rd Monday in January because of MLK. We always meet that 5th Monday. So this is what you're going to vote on. If you're a member, you can say yes. Again, you can read it. I'll leave it up. It's being launched. And read through that, then take your vote. Recommend that the NAACP Executive Committee research, review, and make a recommendation for the general membership to take a formal position on the Arlington Civic Federation resolution and appendix titled Resolution to Restore Public Confidence in Arlington County Governance. Due to the MLK holiday, the vote will occur at the general membership meeting on the 5th Monday, January 30th, 2023. We'll leave this poll open for another 15 to 20 seconds, and then we will share the results. All right, I'm going to end the poll. Madam Secretary, you can take a copy of this. We'll have it. Let me know if you can see it. Share the results. Can everyone see the poll?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So say the members, 41. We can look at the backside analytics of this later on. So we will, the executive committee will take it upon themselves to review and analyze and make recommendation. Assuming they will make a recommendation or come to some conclusion at the January executive committee meeting, they will bring that back to the general membership for a vote in January. Okay?
And JD, this is Ron.
Yes.
And very rarely could happen that they vote not to do the postpone it again.
Well, that's look, Ron, I appreciate that. That's on CIVFED.
Yeah.
So
So I'm just saying, this not gonna be a done deal. We can't guarantee it's gonna be a done deal in February, right?
we're planning based on what was stated at the board meeting. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. All right. Well, listen, everyone. We are right on time. It's 7:26. We have some friends with us tonight. You know, if you don't know who they are, all you gotta do is check out the red. All right, you see them there in red. So Katie Myers and team from Moms Demand Action, some rock stars here in Arlington and Northern Virginia. Katie and I have been working closely together for at least over a year or so, maybe longer. You know what I mean? I believe in relationships. I believe in working together. And I think there's just so much that the NAACP and Moms Demand Action can do together as we talk about, you know, gun violence and gun legislation here in the Commonwealth. So look, I'm going to turn the floor over to Katie. Katie, if you want to introduce your team, you may, but the floor is now yours and you're going to be spotlighted. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Myers, and I'm going to try to share my screen here if that'll work. And sorry, can you see the slideshow or is it like my whole computer?
Whole computer.
The whole computer right now.
Okay. All right. We'll try not to do that.
There we go, Katie.
Okay. Better. All right.
You want to introduce your team or no?
No, we have a lot of supporters here,
Okay,
members
cool.
that came, and I will introduce Sharon when I hand it off to her,
All right.
if that's all right. Yes.
Perfect.
So again, I'm Katie Myers. I'm the community outreach lead for the Arlington group of Moms Demand Action. And Moms Demand Action is a bipartisan group of mothers and many others. This includes non-mothers, men, gun owners, all fighting to prevent gun violence. So thank you for having us. Before we start, I do want to take a moment to remember the many victims of gun violence. I know you just lost a friend and colleague, Kent Carter, to gun violence, and I want to extend my condolences to you all. I did not know Kent, but I have been touched by what I've heard and read about him and all the work he did in Arlington. And I also have UVA students Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry in my heart tonight, along with the victims at Club Q in Colorado Springs over the weekend, which is a tragic reminder that gun violence is often full of hate and directed at our country's already marginalized communities. So while we keep all of these victims, their families and friends in our thoughts and prayers, please also join us in honoring them with action to end gun violence. So I joined Moms Demand Action actually out of a fear of mass shootings, school shootings in particular. My husband, Chris, was a senior at Columbine High School when the shooting happened there. And he was one of the lucky ones. He got out through a second floor emergency exit early, and they just ran as far as they could. They knew it wasn't a fire or a drill, and they had heard some shots, but they didn't know the full extent until later. And so here we are over 20 years later. And my husband has been able to move on, and we have a family and careers, but we also have 7-year-old twins, and federal gun laws are more lax now than when the Columbine shooting occurred. There's no assault weapons ban, and the Supreme Court established an individual right to possess a firearm, which we'll discuss more later. And I know I'm not the only one here that has either personally or through a loved one experienced the fear of a mass shooting, especially with Virginia Tech nearby and now 3 dead at UVA. And I know many now fear being in the wrong place at the wrong time. However, despite how scary mass shootings are, I have learned through my work with moms about the everyday gun violence that doesn't make the news and disproportionately affects Black and Brown communities. 110 people die every day from gun violence, and 6 out of 10 gun deaths are suicides. So advocating for safer gun laws can be really slow and frustrating. And that's one of the reasons I've turned to community outreach. Addressing problems plaguing communities with a higher rate of gun violence, like poverty, mental health, domestic violence, and entrenched inequality, builds stronger communities, and research shows that stronger communities have less gun violence. After the Uvalde shooting, the nation again demanded safer gun laws. And I do think this new law, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, is a step in the right direction. We're going to talk about this new law in detail, but I want to point out that it provides funding for programs that address these so-called root causes of gun violence and these problems that contribute to a lot of issues in communities that experience high rates of gun violence. And these issues are something tangible that we can work on while also advocating for safer gun laws. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to come here today. Moms Demand Action has worked with the NAACP in the past. We have members in common. So we've attended many meetings and events, and JD spoke at our Wear Orange rally in the spring. And we've worked on some of the same initiatives, like the removal of SROs, but we'd like to do more together. We have strong connections with Doorways, Bridges to Independence, and many Title I elementary schools. And we volunteered with Arlington for Justice in the past. And we want to continue to build relationships with groups that work to provide educational and economic opportunities in Arlington. So please reach out to me if you'd like to get more involved or know of a good partnership opportunity. So I'm someone who thinks you have to learn about a subject before you can really change it. So we're going to give you a background, maybe a refresh for some, on federal and state gun laws and what's coming up in the Virginia legislature. So we are going to start at the very top. The Second Amendment states a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So that's some odd phrasing to try to make sense of in 2022. And we could discuss what it means for a long time, but we don't have that time tonight. But I just want you to have this in the back of your mind that when the Supreme Court takes a case about gun laws, this is what they're trying to interpret. So for years, the Supreme Court actually did not try to interpret the Second Amendment. But in 2008, they decided DC versus Heller. And that was a 5-4 opinion, which established a right to possess firearms for personal protection at home. This was the first time the Supreme Court established an individual right to possess a firearm, as opposed to a right that had a militia connection. But it is also important to note that the opinion stated that this individual right was not all-encompassing. There could be restrictions on some forms of gun ownership. And then at the federal level, there are also background checks required to be run by federally licensed gun dealers. But as many of you probably know, private unlicensed sellers, including online and gun show sellers, are not required to run a background check, which makes state background check laws so important to cover this gaping hole. So if you did go into a store to try to buy a gun, what would be a reason that you could not buy one? You cannot sell a gun, I should say federally licensed gun dealers cannot sell a gun to someone that has been, has a felony conviction, fugitives, domestic violence, which we will talk more about in a minute, drug users, and then There's a high bar for mental health cases. You have to have been determined to be unsound or involuntarily committed to a psychiatric institution by a court. So it's a really high bar. And you have to be 21 to buy a handgun, but only 18 to buy a long gun, which includes AR-15s and rifles. And just remember, this does exclude private sales made online or at gun shows. So that really brings us to today and the 2022 passage of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That passed this summer. It was had 65 votes in the Senate. Okay, and it provides funding for mental health services. It expands money and a framework for state emergency risk protection orders. Now, this does not pass any laws about this. It allows states to pass these laws, and Virginia does have one of these. Ours is called a substantial risk order, and Sharon will talk more about that, but they allow people to petition a court for the temporary removal of guns if they're deemed a threat to themselves or others. It also provides enhanced background checks for those under 21 who want to purchase a long gun. So remember, you already have to be 21 to purchase a handgun, but this requires the federally licensed gun dealers to go and check with local and state law enforcement, and then they also have to check some mental health records for those long gun purchases. And then it tries to clarify who is a federally licensed firearm dealer and include more people in that group. So what it's aiming at is people who sell a ton of guns online or a ton of guns at a gun show, to not have them be, classified as private sellers, but have them be classified as that federally licensed gun dealer. And if more people are classified that way, there will be more background checks run, and this will narrow the gun show loophole. This is nowhere near universal background checks because there can still be lots of private sales. It cracks down on illegal trafficking, both across state lines and then straw purchasers. And then it closes the so-called boyfriend loophole. So in the past, only spouses and someone you had a child with, if you were convicted of domestic violence against those people, you could not buy a gun. But now it includes anyone convicted of any domestic violence from purchasing a firearm for 5 years. It does have some school safety improvements. And then this is the one I mentioned, and the one I've been working on here in Arlington. It provides $250 million for community-based gun violence prevention. And these are really targeting groups that already work in the community and have proven results breaking that cycle of gun violence. But it's being very expansive about what projects could receive these funds. So things like safer public spaces for improved lighting and security, counselors, after-school programs, job training, and food and housing assistance. So again, please reach out to me if we can help with any of this type of work. If you know something like this is going on, they need more volunteers, or they need more support from the community, we would love to be involved in that. And I have, this is my personal email address, katie.myers@gmail.com, if you have those kinds of opportunities. And then if you want to get involved with our Arlington group, please reach out to us at momsdemandarl@gmail.com. And if you want to receive kind of the general Everytown communications, which will also include our meetings and bigger events, you can text JOIN to 64433. And so that's really it for federal gun laws. There's not much to it. So that's why state gun laws are so important. And so here is Sharon Bradley, and she's going to tell you more about the Virginia gun laws.
Thank you, Katie. I'm going to try to take over the screen here. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, let's put this in presentation. Are you seeing a slide?
I am seeing it. It's good.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as Katie mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the state, Virginia state legislation, both existing, we'll go over briefly existing legislation that was recently passed in the past couple of years, and then looking forward to the upcoming legislative session in 2023, which begins in January. I just wanted to quickly orient us on the current state here in Virginia. According to Everytown for Gun Safety, which is the parent organization for Moms Demand Action, Virginia is actually ranked number 14 out of 50 for state gun laws, the strength of our state laws regarding gun safety. And as you can see, we receive good marks when it comes to foundational laws, but there are a lot of gaps that we can and hopefully will fill moving forward. And while 14 out of 50 does sound pretty good, these rankings are based on a composite score out of 100 points. And unfortunately, our score, our numerical score is only 48 out of 100, excuse me. So clearly a lot of more work to be done.
Sharon, I'm not sure we're seeing your PowerPoint. It looks like we're seeing your app or Moms Demand.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
just-
sorry. Let me try this again. Is that working now?
Yes, I think that's it.
Yes. And you might want to do what I did to do the use slideshow up at the top.
That is what
You want to do the full screen.
Oh my goodness. Did that just pop it out?
I'm not seeing it. We could see the slides in the last one. I thought it just seemed more, it was like your mode and not the full screen mode. Now I'm just seeing Zoom.
What a disaster. Sorry, guys. I thought I had it all under control. Oh,
Try doing share screen again.
now my whole screen just went black. Okay. I can't find the Zoom anymore.
I just joined. Did I mess this up?
It's all your fault. Okay, let's try one more time here.
I'll get off it.
No.
I don't think it's someone who just joined. No.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to.
There you go. You got it, Sharon.
But I wanted to be in presentation mode.
Right.
I'm gonna lose. Are you seeing the full slide now, or are you seeing my slide notes, or nothing?
We're seeing some of the slide notes, but we can see the slides.
Okay.
If you want to use this. There you go.
That better?
Yep,
My
got
gosh.
it.
Okay. So I will quickly go back to the prior slide that I was talking about. Here you go. Here's the depiction of our report card for Virginia gun safety laws. Again, we have good foundational laws, but we have a lot of room for improvement. I wanted to just briefly touch on some of the successes we had in the state legislature during the 2020 session, which was obviously a couple of years ago. This was back when Governor Northam was in office, and there was a gun sense majority in both the House of Delegates and the state Senate. And because of that combination, we were able to pass a good number of laws that promote gun safety. They're listed here on the screen. One of them is that we expanded background checks for all firearm sales in the state. Previously it wasn't required. A background check wasn't required for quote unquote private sales between parties who are both Virginia residents. This is a loophole that's now been closed. The ERPO, extreme risk protection orders, or red flag law that Katie mentioned briefly at the federal level, we have that type of law here in Virginia, and it enables private citizens to report to law enforcement if they have a fear that there's an individual who's in possession of a firearm and that person is either an imminent danger to themselves or to others, where law enforcement can obtain an order. It's an emergency order, so it's temporary, to remove that firearm from that person's possession during that period of time where they are considered to be a danger. There are some other ones listed here. I won't go into detail because I know that we're limited on time, thanks in part to my fumbles with technology. But point being that we did have some successes back in 2020. Unfortunately, the composition of the legislature then changed. It is the composition that we are now dealing with, where we do actually still have a gun sense majority in the state Senate. However, we do not in the House of Delegates. And because of that, we have not seen any gun safety legislation passed in 2022. Nothing passed through both houses of the state legislature. But on a positive note, we were able to thwart attempts to overturn some of that prior legislation that was passed. So that was a positive, and we do consider that to be a win. Moving forward into the next legislative session, we've identified 4 main areas where we will be advocating for stronger gun laws here in Virginia. One of those is going to be advocating to ban ghost guns. I'll talk more about that in a second. Strengthening some of our secure storage laws, increasing age limits on purchasing assault weapons, and then closing the boyfriend loophole here at the state level, which is different from what was done in the federal legislation that Katie talked about with us. So really briefly, in case anyone here is not familiar with the concept of a ghost gun, this is a gun that's homemade. It's not manufactured by a licensed manufacturer. It does not have a serial number, and it's therefore untraceable by law enforcement. Ghost guns can be assembled from parts that can be acquired without a background check. So obviously these are very dangerous firearms because they can't be traced. They include, but aren't limited to, 3D printed guns, which are also known as downloadable guns. And ghost guns are particularly of concern because we know, based on discussions that have been observed in online forums, as well as encounters between law enforcement and individuals, that hate groups are particularly interested in ghost guns, and especially white supremacist groups. There is a lot of chatter on their online forums about building and using ghost guns. Back in January of 2020, you may have heard about a demonstration by pro-gun activists in Richmond, and actually law enforcement arrested 3 of those white supremacists. They had a plan to instigate a civil war, and in their possession was a ghost gun AR-15, so an AR-15 that was homemade. So obviously this is highly concerning, and you may have heard in the media earlier this year that the ATF at the federal level did actually pass a final rule that regulates ghost guns in some manners, but it actually doesn't prohibit them altogether. And in an ideal situation, we would actually be able to prohibit the possession or sale of ghost guns or components thereof. So this is an area that we will be likely be focusing on in 2023 in the state legislature here in Virginia. Another area would be enhancing gun storage laws. For example, improving the regulations around guns in vehicles. So currently, Virginians do not need a concealed carry permit to have a handgun in their vehicles, as long as the firearm is quote unquote secured. And unfortunately, the state Supreme Court ruled recently that keeping a gun inside of a zipped backpack met the quote secured standard, which obviously does not seem very secure. So it would be one of our goals would be to enhance those regulations, to have that in something like a locked compartment if it's going to be in the car at all. Other areas here, expanding child access prevention law to cover all minors. So currently it is a crime to leave a loaded firearm unsecured in a way that endangers a child who's under the age of 14. So we would like to extend that to all minors under the age of 18. And another one might be trying to require gun dealers that should be sell cable or trigger locks with long guns, which are already required for handguns. The other two I mentioned, age limits on assault weapons. So right now in the state of Virginia, you have to be 21 to purchase a handgun, but only 18 to purchase a long gun, which includes assault weapons like AR-15s. So we would like to see that age limit raised. And then closing the boyfriend loophole again here in the state of Virginia would be another area of interest. And then I'm just going to put in a plug here. If anyone isn't familiar with Advocacy Day, this is an annual event that Moms Demand Action sponsors in each state. And ours here in Virginia is going to be January 13th, 2023. This is the day where we all go to Richmond and we meet with lawmakers and express our support for passing additional gun safety laws here in our state. We would love to have you join us if you are interested and available. You can sign up on the website. You can just search Moms Demand Action Advocacy Day Virginia. You can Google it. I have a link here. I can put that in the chat if that's okay with JD.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then that you can also download the Moms Demand app from the App Store, and you can RSVP there. So we would really love to have you join us and come support this really important movement of ours. So thank you so much for giving us the time to speak today.
All right. Well, thank you for such, Katie and Sharon for such an enlightening and well put together presentation. Let's give them a virtual hand clap, everyone. There's, a really good presentation. And what I'm going to do for just a second before we pivot is, when we set our agenda up for a lot of our meetings, we don't have a lot of time for discussion and dialogue depending on the subject. I think what we wanted to do today was allow Moms Demand Action to come in, present to our body, right? Things they have been involved in, and you've done just that, in ways perhaps you can be involved as members, right? You see what's going on in January, and I will say that I know the NAACP at the state level is very involved with Advocacy Day. I'm not sure which day we're gonna line up at the state level this year, but if you aren't part of the NAACP, or if you are part of the NAACP, join Moms Demand Action. Go down and help them in Richmond. All hands on deck. When we think about gun reform and gun legislation and all that, just about all of us in some way, shape, or form may know or have heard of someone who's been affected by gun violence. And thank you, Katie, for making mention to our first vice president who lost his life on October 2nd to a very tragic murder. And I also lost a niece in Houston, Texas a year ago to gun violence. So it's really taken its toll, and it has for many others. So thank you again for attending and providing the presentation. Before we move over to my good fellow Marine, Carol is getting ready to come up. I want to address something, right? When you're the NAACP, people are going to come at you at all different angles, all different corners. And there's a reason that we disable the chat at certain points of our meeting. Because what we don't tolerate here at the NAACP is people using our platform for grievances or concerns they have or issues. I don't tolerate that. So, that has been addressed already. This is not a place where you come and, hey, well, why we don't have this? Look, we have process, procedures. We don't undermine, we're transparent. And if people have issues with things, they bring them to the executive leadership. They can take them to the state conference of the NAACP or to the national. But you're not going to come and disturb the peace and harmony of this said body of the NAACP. It will not be tolerated. It will not be condoned. And I just want to share, folks, we've been doing pretty doggone good for 4 years, because I think people know my left and right lateral limits. And to our incoming president, there's nothing wrong, and I'll tell this to anyone, there's nothing wrong and nothing in the guidelines that say you cannot be a member of a nonprofit organization and also be the chair of that, or the president, and be part, and your political affiliation has nothing to do with anything. People may want to imply and think there's conflict of interest, but we can walk and chew gum. I've done that perfectly well, I think, for a couple of years. And people that know me, that it doesn't matter what my political affiliation is. I'll challenge a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent, because it's about policy and it's about the people. So let's not get too, I'm going to tell folks, those that are out here that have taken on personal vendettas and issues about how we operate, they need to take that up with the national NAACP and the state level, because they've already been vetted. They've been elected. NAACP National did our elections. So look, but we're in a good place here at the NAACP. You've accomplished a lot together. And we will continue to do that. And we're not going to let anyone or any group come between us as an organization. That's how organizations fall. All right. And you need strong leadership at the top. And I have all the trust and confidence in the incoming team that they're going to do just that. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And but look, great presentation from Moms Demand Action. I love each and every one of you. Keep doing what you do. And we're getting ready for a good friend of mine, of ours, because it is November. We just had Veterans Day. We just had the Marine Corps birthday, 26-year Marine here. And so is Colonel Nancy Springer. Are you still there, Nancy? Nancy.
Yeah, I'm still here.
What, I thought that photo was you.
That's a live photo.
That's a live. I was like, okay, let's get you up.
I got the camera. I got the camera on me.
So we have not done this. You got your camera going now?
I don't see myself on the screen though.
No, I don't see you.
Oh. Yeah, you should be able to. I wonder what happened.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what happened.
We may have some time on the backside, everyone, for those that, because I know one of our committees is not going to be here. So you may have some questions for Mom Demand Action if they're around, and we have some time on the backside of the agenda. We can open it up for questions. We're a little bit behind. Nancy, I see your, okay. But I don't see you, Nancy.
I think I'd have to maybe leave the
go ahead and go out and come back in.
I'll give that a try.
All right, go ahead and do that. Any questions for Moms Demand Action while we're waiting for Nancy to come back? I'll go ahead and open it up. Is there something in the chat here? Any questions? Go ahead, Heather.
Hi, I had a question. Someone asked in the chat about whether or not there can be a change in federal legislation to allow the federal government to research gun violence, but I thought that had been changed. So maybe it says, can future legislative efforts include removing the federal research restriction on gun deaths? I was wondering about clarification about that. Thank you.
Yes,
Sharon, you're
that's right,
nodding. Do you
Heather.
know that?
Yeah, it has been lifted. And so the CDC is actually now conducting research that, we wish could have been done sooner, but we're glad that it's happening now. So yes, you're right.
Okay.
Nice. And I will add that every town does a ton of research if you are interested in reading about it, and other groups like Giffords does as well.
There's one more question. See if we can answer that. Veronica Bartlett, do you see that? Sharon?
Yes.
Katie?
Veronica asked why the different regulations for handguns and long guns.
Yeah.
It seems that regulations for a long gun should be stricter, but it's the opposite. So this is actually something I just learned recently in researching for this presentation. And it's because a long time ago, handguns were seen as the guns used to commit crimes, and long guns were seen as guns for hunting and guns for the military. And as many of us know, that's different now, but it's historical, and it goes back to that difference.
Thank you. Here we go. Dima, you have a question? You're muted. I'm sorry. You're muted.
Okay, thank you for Sorry. Thank you for all your work on everything. I just did want to mention something that in Arlington, we've been seeing gun stores across from daycares and preschools, and that's one of the loopholes that I feel very strongly about, that we should try to work in with Richmond to try to close that up, because the same logic that applies to schools would applies to those types of centers. So that's something I hope that we can do in Virginia and accomplish.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I did want to note, and I messaged you this directly, but there's a new gun shop in Clarendon, and we did have some of our moms members go there and distribute our Be Smart cards because we're not anti-gun, we are pro-gun safety. And so our Be Smart program is all about keeping guns locked and stored safely. So we have shared that information with that store in particular.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and that store is going to be located across the street from a future daycare center, and its old location was in front of another preschool daycare center. So that's kind of the point I was trying to get to. Well, thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Katie, and thank you, Dima, for those questions and then the answers returned. Okay, it is now time that I bring before you another good friend of the NAACP and me personally, and I do have somewhat of an affinity with an organization that this Nancy is part of. She is a retired colonel in the United States Marine Corps. And I am also retired. I just didn't make it a colonel. They wouldn't allow me. But Nancy is the past commander of our local VFW, where, and I'm going to share this before I turn the floor over to you. Just a few months ago, Nancy, you recall this night, me and Kent, we came over at the, Mike Cantwell was y'all were having a bingo night. And, Kent was a combat vet, and we went over there, and I think I had some membership, but I didn't. And you put it on us, you put the hook on us, and both Kent and I that very same night became life members of the VFW. And, I think about that. I thought about it as you were coming in here tonight, because I know that's probably the last time we were together, and we were going to do some things over at the VFW together, and it was great camaraderie that night as veterans. Without further ado, everyone, I want to present to you and introduce the others, the past commander of our local VFW, the illustrious Nancy Springer.
Okay, well, thank you, JD. And before I go on, I do want to offer our organization's condolences on that tragic loss of Kent Carter. I remember that date that you're describing, JD, like it was yesterday. In fact, Mike Cantwell and I were just talking about that a couple days ago. It's such a tragic loss. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen. Give this a try. Okay, and can you see my slides? I hope.
We can see your slides. There you go. Yep, we can see them.
Go back to slide number 1 then. Okay, and good evening, everybody. Nancy Springer from Arlington County's only Veterans of Foreign Wars post, a John Lyon VFW post 3150. And JD said I'm the past commander from last year, currently a trustee on the post. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. Our topics here. So I move on to our history slide. Okay, the VFW was created at the turn of the 19th to the 20th century in the wake of the Spanish American War and the Philippine War to secure the earned rights and benefits for these veterans. And the situation was we had these veterans returning from these overseas wars, and there's no structure, no infrastructure to help them get the benefits that they earned through their overseas service. And for those who didn't come home, there's really no support structures in place to take care of their widows and their orphans. So that was the rise of the VFW. And 2 predecessor organizations, one focused on the Spanish-American War, and one focused on the Philippines War, actually came together and made what we now know as the VFW. And soon thereafter, a couple of years after, about 15 years later, the VFW Auxiliary was founded. And a few more years after that, Congress chartered the VFW as a congressionally chartered organization. And the post, like John Lyon Post, is the VFW's local chapter in the local area. And starting in 1899 with post number 1, that was in Denver, Colorado, the VFW has since expanded to 52 departments. And that's the state level organization. There's one in each state or Commonwealth here in Virginia. There's also a department in Asia Pacific and a department in Europe. And the VFW as a whole right now is currently comprised of almost 6,000 posts throughout the world. So there's probably a VFW either close by or in almost every community. And there is one here, like I said, here in Arlington County. And next slide here, what exactly is the VFW's mission? And I'll tell you up front, it is not the stereotypical smoky bar. The VFW's mission actually is to advocate on behalf of all veterans, not just its members, but all veterans. And you see here, I have my slide, how many times last year that VFW members testified before Congress, almost 30 times. And one of the signature pieces of legislation this past year signed into law was the PACT Act. And that was recently signed in this past summer. And what that does is it expands the presumptive conditions, the timeframes, and the locations for veterans affected by toxins while they're deployed fighting foreign wars. This is the burn pits, this is Agent Orange, and these are the presumptive conditions associated with those toxins. And what that means is that it helps those veterans more easily get help from the Veterans Affairs, get help with their medical conditions. And a secondary mission of the VFW is to assist veterans in obtaining earned benefits. In 2021, VFW helped more than 100,000 veterans submit Veterans Affairs claims to get those medical disability benefits, educational benefits, and other benefits that veterans earn through their service. It also performs community service. And I just listed in this bullet a couple of the items that John Lyon Post routinely does out in the Arlington community. And some of these activities people know, they're well known. And then again, not too many people know that the VFW runs a very comprehensive youth scholarship program. We also recognize our first responders out in the community. We clean up a section of Langston Boulevard outside our post. We go out and decorate graves, and we perform patriotic ceremonies. And those are just a couple of the community service activities that we do. There are many more. Those are just a couple of highlights. And next, let me acquaint you with John Lyon Post itself. Okay, John Lyon Post, 3150, Arlington's only VFW post. And we are a nonpartisan 501c19 veterans charitable organization. We ourselves were chartered on 20 November 1934. So as I'm giving this brief to you, on my cell phone over here is our post meeting going on. Right before the post meeting, we celebrated our 88th birthday. So John Lyon Post has been a pillar in the Arlington community for almost 90 years. So 20 November, which is, well, yesterday was our official birthday. Then a couple months later, we're able to charter an auxiliary for our partner organization that deals mostly with the veterans and the veterans' families. A few months later, 21 February 1935, and our namesake is Army Lieutenant John Lyon. was a native Arlingtonian who unfortunately was killed in World War I about 3 weeks before the armistice as he rushed out to save one of his soldiers. And he was decorated posthumously for his heroism in that act with the Distinguished Service Cross, which is the nation's second highest decoration for valor. And our post right now is comprised of nearly 700 members, of which one of whom is JD. And in 1946, we purchased our current home at 2116 19th Street North in Arlington, which is located in the Colonial Village neighborhood. We are about a third of the mile north of the Courthouse Metro stop. And yes, we are the only house in the block with a cannon out front. You know, sometimes people will tell me, I can't find your building. Where is it? I say, wow, we're the only house in the neighborhood that has a cannon out front. That's our post. There's a picture of it right there. And it started out its life as a church. And we have been in that post home here for, let's see, 1946, that is 76 years. So that's been our home. And during the past year, we've done a lot of work on the building itself. We had a what we call the anonymous benefactor come forward. We had somebody come forward and made a very large donation. We were able to put a new roof on the place, new siding, do some electrical work. And most recently, we killed the mold. It's probably been living in that basement probably for 50 or 60 years. That project is now complete, and we are now open in this refurbished facility. And like I said, this is the only place for veterans to come in our county to just relax and enjoy some camaraderie with fellow veterans, plan our community service activities, and just be in our post home. So that's us. And why am I here in the first place? What do we have in common with your NAACP chapter? Well, actually, my NAACP chapter as well, because I'm a member of your organization as well. I took a look at our NAACP website to see what the commonalities are between our two organizations. And first of all, we are both engaged in the community. We're both community engaged organizations. We both are focused on youth advocacy. From our end, VFW does sponsor a very extensive youth scholarship program. And we also sponsor a Little League team in the Arlington Little League. And I thought that there are some mutual support opportunities between NAACP's Armed Services and Veterans Affairs Committee and the John Lyon Post. There are probably some members of our organization who need to get information about yours and probably join NAACP and vice versa. And I'm performing right now the vice versa part of this, informing NAACP about our organization. And hopefully you'll want to come over and take a closer look. And I think there's opportunities for service in each other's organization and perhaps maybe do some joint community service projects. Perhaps we could come together in February for a Black History theme community service project between the two organizations. So that's why I'm here, to let you know about John Lyon Post, let you know about the VFW, and see where there are probably mutual opportunities for support back and forth, and maybe partnering opportunities as well. So how would you go about serving alongside us? That's a frequent question. And people may join the VFW if they're either actively serving or honorably discharged, if they're a combat veteran. And there's a whole list of campaign medals that qualify a person for VFW service, but I can break it down really into 3 bullets that any combat veteran would understand. So if a person is either an active duty service member or a veteran who ever received imminent danger pay, which is combat pay, or if that person ever served in Korea, either permanently assigned there or served at least 30 consecutive days or 60 non-consecutive days, or participated in a submarine, ballistic missile submarine, SSBN deterrence patrol. And for those in the Navy, that's what's known as a boomer patrol. So if a person meets those 4 qualifying conditions, he or she may join us as a VFW member. And I always tell people, because people sometimes will tell me, well, I can't join your organization, I can't partner with you because I've never been in a war. And I always tell people, don't count yourselves out until you talk with one of us. And similarly, if a person does not have qualified military service to join the VFW, he or she may be very qualified to join our VFW Auxiliary, which is our partner organization that focuses not only on our veterans, but also on our veterans' family members and our active duty service members' families as well. And a person's eligible for the auxiliary if that person has a close family member who is or who was a VFW member or who is or was eligible for VFW membership, though didn't actually join. A close family member is characterized as a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a child, or a grandchild. And frequently in discussions with people who say, well, I can't be a part of your organization. And I start asking them, was your grandfather or grandmother a World War II veteran? And a lot of times they'll say yes. Well, let's have a conversation about that. And we find after asking a couple of questions, yes, they can join the VFW's auxiliary. That really opens up the aperture as to who can come in and actively serve alongside us, serving our veteran community. Because like I posted the 3 missions of VFW, we are very actively involved in supporting our veteran community here in Arlington, doing community service, and also bringing people into our building and serving them one-on-one, helping them get their benefits, helping them file claims, and advocating on their behalf and on the organization's behalf. So that's how you may come in and serve alongside us. And let me tell you how you can get some more information about us. Our current commander is Sam Wong, and that is his organizational email box. And you can also email me if you have further questions or if you'd like to have more detailed discussion about the VFW or about John Lyon Post. That's my personal email. And I currently am what's called a 3-year trustee. Every VFW post elects a trustee cadre, a 3-person trustee cadre. We're essentially the audit team for the post. We audit the books every quarter to make sure the funds brought in are properly dispersed and properly used. We also have a web page. You can go to yourself and check us out, and a Facebook page, or you can come by and visit us. If you don't belong to our organization, we can sponsor you to come into our facility, and we can show you what we do. Buy you a Diet Coke or something, have a meal with us. And those are our typical open hours on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, 6 to 10. We've expanded our hours a little bit on Sunday since it's football season. Come over and watch a ball game with us and get to know us a little bit and see what we do on a firsthand basis. We can show you around our facility. And also I ask, and here's one request to the audience, please tell your active duty veteran and military family members about us. Because even though we have a cannon parked out front, I still find a lot of people in our community who have no idea that we are on 2116 19th Street North. And that's approximately at the intersection of Veach and 19th Street, just for a geographic reference point. And that's the end of my presentation. I'll open the floor. Does anybody have any questions for me?
There is one question
Okay.
asked about it as Latanya McGowan asks, can reservists join the VFW?
Yes, as long as you meet the parameters of combat service, yes, a reservist may join. In fact, we have many reservists as part of our members.
Okay. Can you stop sharing, and then we'll go back to our larger view? I'll just get this here.
Okay, there you go.
Great.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns or for Nancy, past commander? Again, there's so many ways. I think here in Arlington we have I think close to 13,000 veterans in our midst, right? That was the last report. And you have a really good number of members there, but those, the VFW criteria, I mean, that's a lot of combat vets, right?
Oh, yes.
But we have more. And I look forward to ways that we, can work together. There's a lot of veterans in the NAACP. You're talking about Black History Month down the road, but then again, just other ways outside of just coming here and having a presentation. How about tangible, like outcomes? How can we get kneecap to kneecap and engage in our community on issues that we both support? So I think there are quite a few, to be quite honest. That is something that me and a few others were talking about in the past. As veterans, how do we bring both of these organizations closer together? Because we do have a Veterans Affairs Committee, or we should have one. It's just you got to have the veterans that raise their hand and volunteer want to lead. Right? That's how it always is. So look, thank you again. I guess there's no questions. Nancy, thank you for coming and being with us tonight. Let's give Nancy a virtual round of applause, everyone. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. You are welcome. I do want to take a point of privilege, and I want to say, I don't know how I missed this, but say good evening to my good friend Allison. Didn't think I was coming at you, right? For Moms Demand Action. And Allison had extended the invitation to the aforementioned event that Katie mentioned. I went and spoke at over at the Garden, and that was a very moving experience. So thank you, Allison, for extending that extending your invitation to the NAACP and allowing us to be with you and so many others and families on that special day. Okay, really appreciate that.
Absolutely, JD. It's a pleasure to work with you.
So in all seriousness, folks, we get into these spaces where we hear a presentation, folks have a lot of good things to say. How we measure this is like when the meeting's over, what happens in the next couple of days? Who's going to perform outreach? Who's going to, lean in and say, you know what? I want to be part of Moms Demand Action or the VFW, right? And that's what this is all about, right? We bring people here. You have to be intentional if you really want to make a difference. We can't wait and sit idly by and expect that other folks are going to carry this, burden on the battlefield, right? Colonel Springer, we need everybody, all hands on deck. And when it comes to, gun legislation, and when it comes to supporting our veterans, many that have been left behind, we need more people in the fight, whether it's through auxiliary or we need to expose veterans to the VFW so they know of all the good work and the camaraderie that the VFW brings to support families, veterans, especially at a time, Nancy, as you know, many of our veterans are suffering from a lot of mental and emotional trauma, especially those that have gone to combat like you and I. So look, we're all a family. And so really appreciate both of these presentations. Now for the good stuff, we are going to quickly go through a couple of our committees. I will bring up again, next month is our virtual Freedom Fund banquet. So if you haven't done so, please, we'll get a link in here tonight, but please join us. It's only $30. It's not about the money, but it's about the experience. Last year, we had a really good time in the virtual space. We hope that next year in 2023, that the NAACP, like we've done in the years past, will be able to meet in person and have a very robust and enlightening Freedom Fund Gala, where we bring everyone together and recount all the good work that we're going to be doing in 2023. So with that, let's go to our Religious Affairs Committee. What say you, Religious Affairs? Anything to bring before the membership this evening?
No, not tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will say we've had a really good meeting, event a few days ago, working alongside Voice and some of our partners on the Missing Middle meeting presentation by a lot of folks at the Unitarian Universalistic Church. That was a tough one, tongue twister. Over 254 people, allies showed up. We heard from Christian Dorsey, Vice Chair of the County Board, and Libby Garvey, along with a number of folks in the community who gave testimonial about the Missing Middle. And, I recall one lady who came to the mic and she stated, her position, and she said, I just got off work. And this was, the meeting started at, I think, around 7. And she said, I just got off work. I have a couple kids at the house. I'm just getting here, but I want you to know I'm the missing middle, right? And it's just how she said it. And, she just got off her job and trying to make it to a meeting in person to testify. It was just very moving. So 254 people showed up, and that was a good event. Thank you, Rosa, and to the Religious Affairs team for being a part of that. I know the Religious Affairs team is working with our housing committee for the NAACP to have our very own presentation and open it up to the community as well. Environmental and climate justice, Kenyatta Clements. or Ron Haddix?
Ms. Clemens?
Is he still with us?
I'm here. We actually right now there's 2 meetings that I could have been at talking about this issue. One was with the woman from the voice group is having a meeting with all the tree folks, right? And there's another meeting with the Civic Association to talk about planting trees. So we're fully engaged, and we have bandwidth problem, but we had a meeting recently, Kenya. Ms. Clemens, do you want to give up an update? She's the chair.
Yeah. Is she here? I thought I saw her earlier.
Yeah, she's there.
Give me a second.
Yeah. But we're been very busy.
I know. As we close out the year, I mentioned earlier about the opportunity, and we're going to send something out by way of email about trees and the opportunity to actually get at least, I think it's 3 trees if you would like, and they'll be planted for free.
Exactly.
In your yard. But there's some other issues environmental climate justice are working on as well. But let me, we'll see if Kenyatta comes back, Vice Chair. And I want to go to Brian Coleman. I'm going to move around a little bit. Brian is the Vice Chair of our Housing Committee. I know he has another event tonight. So Brian, go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks so much. So thanks everyone. I just want to keep this fairly short since we're doing well on time with the meeting. So for housing, we've had a handful of events recently that we've either been tracking, attending, or just getting regular updates on. As JD mentioned, there was a voice event this past week, which unfortunately I wasn't able to attend because I've had a knee surgery, but I've seen pictures and heard some testimony. And according to Lauren, it was an excellent event. It was really well attended. And I'm glad for everyone who couldn't make it there. And I'm happy that we've been able to collaborate in this way where we have this coalition built that can show the strength behind the missing middle proposal so that the county board, keeps a stiff spine and tries to pass this policy in its fullest form. So really appreciate everyone showing up for that. We also have a memo that's in the works on the Affordable Fair Housing Grant Program. Oh, thank you. 266 people attended the voice event. So thanks, Alice, for those numbers. It's extremely well attended. So Kellen and I have both been in conversations with both Helen and Christy to set up a time to discuss a legislative proposal we have with the NAACP for their Affordable Fair Housing Grant Program. We've been a part of a larger conversation with them over the last several months. And we recently saw a proposal they put forward, which is very robust and exceeds our expectations as to what the policy was going to include for the next legislative session. But we have some recommendations that we have been taking into consideration, and we plan on reaching out back with the HCD for any guidance before we move forward with that. So that is one item on the back burner that we intend to put forward on our agenda in the coming weeks. Another topic that we've been working on is the Planned Langston Boulevard preliminary concept plan letter that we've been drafting. Currently, we have a revised letter after our meeting with the county board and staff over the concept plan, where we have some issues with it. One being that the process of surveying residents lean particularly on white homeowners. And so a lot of the people who would stand to benefit from the Planned Langston Boulevard concept plan weren't really included in the surveys. And so their responses, I think, need to be accounted for, of course, seeing as that this is a program that would primarily help those recipients. Another issue is that the plan only accounts for about 1,500 additional housing units compared to the master plan, which states about 2,500. So it's off by 1,000 actually by their target date. So given that the Plan Langston Boulevard plan does not account for that large discrepancy and does not meet the affordable housing master plan's set goal, nor did it really take into consideration the voice of minorities and marginalized communities that it was supposed to take into consideration. Instead, valued more so the voices of single family homeowners. We are voicing our concerns with the plan in a letter, which should be put forward to the executive committee for final approval soon, and then we'll get that out in the next few days. And lastly, we have, of course, missing middle, which we have been doing a lot with recently. In addition to voice, we are planning an event to work with the Religious Affairs Committee, hopefully for January 9th, I believe. We were tentatively thinking of having an event scheduled for December with Callaway UMC, but for the sake of scheduling and coordinating our efforts more effectively, we decided to move that event date until January. And on top of that, we have, of course, a number of meeting sessions scheduled with the county board for the missing middle proposal, which we hope to have set down for next week. Kel and I are supposed to be meeting both with Matt DeFranci and Christian Dorsey to discuss more of our concerns following the voice event. And I hope to hear both from Christian and seeing what his feeling is after that event, which I hope will have shifted him more in our direction. And from what I understand, speaking with Wells earlier, there was a meeting with, and Wells, please correct me if I get this incorrect, there was a community advisory committee meeting that was recently held that you attended, where Matt also attended. And so we would like to double back with them and see where they are in their position and just touch base. So with that, I will turn it back over to JD.
Sure. Any questions for the vice chair of our housing committee from our members and those on the call? I know our good friend Alice put in the chat for everyone, and please click this link. The planning staff is going to have a meeting coming up. Just go to this website, and I think this is actually the Planning Commission's meeting, and we're going to be seeking citizens and folks to come out and speak in favor of that, if I'm correct. Alice, I know you're on the call, and I don't mind bringing you on if you want to articulate a little bit more. I think I'm on point.
Thank you, JD. I would just say what I put in the chat. Thank you, Brian, for your update. I just wanted to stress the importance of any and all of us communicating with planning staff about how important it is to have enough density on Langston Boulevard to house the number of people who will be coming, particularly lower income people. And of course, that whole area basically, now Langston Boulevard and North is the, the centerpiece of our exclusionary zoning. So here we are in this historical moment, re-envisioning this whole corridor. This is our opportunity to get as much housing in there and bring back some diversity. And yet this plan falls way short of those numbers. And so the planning staff has tried very hard to get with renters and get with other folks but we know how hard that is to engage folks who are exhausted, busy, distracted, all the things, right? So they're hearing from everybody who has all the resources and all the time and day to tell them how perfect it is right now, and they don't want anything to change. So I just put a call out to each of us, just send a quick email to the planning staff and say you support as many affordable units as we can get on the pipe on the boulevard, and at the minimum, the 2,500 that county board has already committed to doing 5 years ago. So here we are with the opportunity to ensure that they are there. let's not go short of the goal they already agreed to. So
Right.
dying to hear from us, and a few of us sending emails, I think would be very, very effective. So
I think so.
I encourage us all to do that. The email is right there. And then if you want more information, I put the website, and I know Brian or I or any of us would be happy to help folks if they wanted more detail. So thank you.
Thank you, Alice. And again, any additional questions for our housing vice chair, housing committee? As we'll still have over 60 people on the call, and that's good. I just want to, Alice hit the nail on the head. This can be very exhausting. And, but one thing I challenge not only people on commissions, but also our elected leadership to think about. When we're talking about equity and equality, you have to make the decision. You have to look at who's missing, right? And if you know as a leader that certain folks aren't at the table, it's incumbent upon you in this diverse and inclusive community to consider them in your decision making. Everyone can't make it to commissions meetings or board meetings, or at a meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon during a recess meeting, or at 7 o'clock or 8:30 on a Saturday morning because kids at soccer practice, right? Or wherever it may be, or they just don't have daycare. But when you put an equity resolution, right, Brian, together, you're telling us that you understand and that you're going to lead in that manner. So anything less would be uncivilized, right? Or you can withdraw your resolution. All right, look, we're going to move on. Thank you, Brian. And we're gonna, we will add, I know that we're gonna go to economic development. Then we're gonna go to our criminal justice, which is gonna be closing out tonight. And right after criminal justice, we do have our Commonwealth attorney with us today, the Honorable Parissa Degani Tofty, and we're thankful that she's with us. We also have with us tonight, I saw a few folks here. I just want to point out Patricia. Yeah, I got you looking. Patricia is with us tonight from Voice, and she gave a great presentation last week at the event with Voice. Patricia, I do want to yield for just a second. Do you have anything you want to say to the individuals on this call tonight? Because you spoke so eloquently the other day and you moved everyone in the room. Oh, and excuse me, Mary Darna, our school board member, is here as well, and she may have a little bit of information. So we have some room on the backside. The Honorable Mary Kadura is here. We may have some time for Patricia. Anything you want to say? I'll give you a minute. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted, my friend. You're muted. Can't hear you. Thank you for being with us. You're still muted.
Oh, you check the bottom left of your screen. Oh, there you go.
We still can't hear her. We cannot hear you. It's okay. That's what maybe I could take mine off and look. Did I just hear her? Okay.
It's like coming in and out. It may be a signal issue.
Maybe a signal issue, Patricia. You may have to go out and come back in. I'm not sure because you're not even lighting up on this end. But thank you for being with us. If you want to go out and come back in, we'll see. Then we can hear you. But let's go ahead and move to and thank you, Brian, so we can stay and get this together here. Let's move on to our Economic Development Committee. Megan, are you with us today? Well, she was out, Madam Secretary.
She was here. She left. Looks like she left early.
Okay. Does our Political Action Committee have any? Well, excuse me. I did fail to mention the political action. Megan, I don't think Megan Razor, they don't have anything from political action tonight.
Yeah, actually, if I could just say.
Okay, all right,
really
go ahead.
quickly. So coming off of the very successful county candidate forum that we had last month, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you to our Secretary Wanda for moderating and to Jan Marie for hosting for us. Now that the elections are over, we do want to take this opportunity to thank all of the folks who volunteered to help neighbors register to vote, restore their voting rights, and just learn about the election and opportunities to vote early. We also want to give a special thank you to the following churches and individuals who have agreed to adopt specific affordable housing complexes to conduct voter registration and education on behalf of the NAACP on a recurring basis. So that is Mount Olivet United Methodist Church, Callaway United Methodist Church, St. Michael's Episcopal Church, and Kitty McCall. So we encourage other individuals and organizations to follow their lead and form an enduring relationship with a specific community to help them with voter registration and voter education. So I will drop our email address in the chat. So please reach out to us if you're interested. And starting in, 2023, we're really going to be focusing on our local advocacy efforts and really trying to partner more with the county's chief race and equity officer. So I will keep it brief. That's all I have, unless there are any questions for me.
Thank you, sis. Thank you so much. Really outstanding job from you and Jamie and Jan Marie this year. We would not have been successful had it not been for you. So Patricia, you're back. Let's see if we can, Patricia. Okay, I'm gonna, Patricia, I see you shaking your head. You went out and you came back in. Can you unmute? I'm gonna hit ask to unmute. You see a link? There you go. So your microphone, it looks like your microphone may be off on your end. That's what we're thinking. Because you're talking, we just can't hear you. It's okay. Thank you too. We love you. Thank you again. I just want to, we didn't forget about you. And we heard what you said the other day, and you brought up the young kids, the young children. One with the red tape, the symbolically redlining. You had one with the globe environment, and then you had one more. I'm missing out. Who remembers what that was? Someone come off microphone and tell me what it was.
It was a duplex birdhouse.
Yeah, the houses. There you go. I know someone else is paying attention. Thank you. All right. Criminal justice. Are we ready to go?
Indeed, we are ready to go.
Hey, what I love me some criminal justice.
I know you do.
All right. Public safety. That's me.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I just want to dovetail with what JD mentioned earlier in the call and about the fact that we are continuing to look for, work toward accountability for not just Mr. Becton's death in custody at the Arlington County Detention Facility, but also the other men who were awaiting hearings or were in custody one way or the other, and lost their lives while they were in custody. So we are going to keep moving forward, keep pressing and keep asking for answers, keep asking for accountability, both for the members of the families of those gentlemen and also for the members of our community, because when people are in custody, they are in all of our custody, and what happens to them happens on behalf of all of us in this community. And we can do better, and we need to make sure that we know what happens so that we can make sure that it doesn't happen again in the future. That's the first issue. The second issue that we are working on, it's our continuing efforts to make robust and meaningful community participation in oversight of serious allegations of police misconduct. And as part of that, now that we've got our community oversight board in place, there's been a little bit of turnover of some of the members. We are looking to continue to work together with the independent policing auditor and the elected officials on the county board and the ACPD and the county manager to make sure that there is real meaningful community input into the memorandum of understanding, which is going to be the actual vehicle that takes us from the county ordinance that establishes the community oversight board to the community actually having meaningful oversight of the ACPD and allegations of misconduct. So those are the two big things on our agenda right now. We have many other things in the works, but these are our main items of attention at the moment. Looking forward, it's been fantastic working with the current leadership committee, the leadership team. So looking forward to working with the new young team and the younger team, young and younger is how I'm gonna call the new leadership team. And looking forward to a really great end of the year and start to the next year and what we can achieve together.
The lifestyles of the young and restless.
That's it. The young and young.
The young and restless. Oh, thank you, Heather. So I just want to bring folks, again, there's a lot that we're taking on as a branch of volunteers. But I want you, when we talk about community oversight, police department, we're not, singling out police. It's important that this community oversight board that is in place right now at inception, we've already seen some of the members leave. A lot of that has been shared with the community already, right? But right. I'll share that with you. Some of the folks have already left for perhaps a number of reasons. But there was supposedly a good vetting process up front. We know there's individuals in the community that wanted to serve on that committee who were not afforded the opportunity. And Lisa, I see you're like, Lisa's like, Liz is like, I see you, Liz. She's like, what? Really? Yeah, really. But there's other issues, right? That I'm concerned, we're concerned, I'm gonna go to you, Heather. Yep. Pedestrian safety and transportation in Arlington is right up there. And I know it's really not criminal justice, right? But as we talk about public safety, we got to get a handle on that. We have too many people getting hit by cars in Arlington. And I think there's some room there for the NAACP to engage from the public safety aspect. Arlington is right now up there at a place where ratio wise, we are off the charts. It becomes the number of pedestrians that are getting hit in our community. And I've lived all across this world, this globe, in places like Brussels, Germany, different cities, Houston, you name it. And they know how to build. There's places where you can build safe streets and safe neighborhoods. I don't know why we're failing our people in that regard. It's unsatisfactory. We have too many people getting hit, from school bus or school monitors, even too dangerous to bike. Dave, that's correct, right? So we got to work as a community on that. I don't think one person has all the answer to that, but if we all stand up and figure out what the heck's going on here, we can make a change. Heather, you had another comment.
Yeah, I wanted to add one other thing for Criminal Justice Committee and the COB, and add to what JD said. In addition to the COB having a role in oversight of past allegations of past misconduct, there's also a role for us, for the community oversight board, and for us as representatives of stakeholders in the community to advance policy procedures and policies moving forward for a more collaborative policing relationship between ACPD and the community. And we're looking forward to working on that as well. That's also part of what will be in the memorandum of understanding, which is why it's so important for us to be an active participant in that. And we're working on that from our end.
by the way, before I let you go, I saw in the registration tonight, there's 2 people, maybe 1, that said they want to join and be part of the Criminal Justice Committee. So have somebody else that we're going to send to you for vetting. Okay.
Let's do it. Excellent.
All
Look
right.
forward to
Any
bigger-
questions for our Criminal Justice Committee Chair? Let me look in the chat here. Yeah, Dave said again, too dangerous to bike now. Yeah, totally get it. Alice Hogan says she talked to Pat. She said she just wanted to let folks know that Voice has teams of folks willing to come to do a presentation to groups in the community who want to better understand missing middle. They can reach out to her. Okay, thank you, Alice, our good friend, for sharing that information. And again, thank you, Madam Chair, for your time, attention, and volunteerism. Okay.
My pleasure. Good night.
All right, don't close down yet. And we still have a few minutes. And we're going to get through this quickly. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm also going to ask let me stop sharing here for just a second. The Commonwealth Attorney, we have 9 minutes. So we're going to see if we can do 3 minutes with the Commonwealth Attorney. And then the school board member, Mary Cadera, who's both with us tonight, they have a few things to pass. Harissa, are you still with us? Oh, yes, she is.
I am. I just am having trouble unmuting.
All right, let me get you can go ahead and just about 2 or 3 minutes. I know Pastor Davis was going to mention this, but go ahead. I know this just came out. We have shared it, but do you want to talk to the expungement clinic that's going on?
I would love to. Hi, everybody. I am Parissa Tafty. I am your Commonwealth's attorney. And can I just start with saying that I wholeheartedly agree with what you said earlier and what Heather said, and that we are responsible for the people who are in our jails, and going to jail should not be the norm. It shouldn't be the place where people have to go to get mental health treatment or medical treatment, and it shouldn't be the only place that can't say no to folks that need help. And going to jail should not be, nobody should die just because people shouldn't die in jail. So having said that, I'm going to switch gears now and talk a little bit. I talk about second chances a lot, and the ability to really engage in rehabilitation and change one's life. One of the things that is a collateral consequence of the criminal legal system, even if you are arrested and your case is dismissed, you still have a record, and that record can be a barrier to housing. It can be a barrier to education. It can be a barrier to jobs. And so one of the things that the clerk of court, as well as a number of really great sponsors, including the NAACP, are doing is hosting an expungement clinic. And what is happening on December 3rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is that we are going to be at the Arlington Presbyterian Church, which is on the Pike. And we will be helping people. There'll be volunteer defense attorneys. They will help people fill out expungement petitions. My office will be there to respond to them, and the clerk of court will be there to file those applications so that people can get a jump start on what they need to do in order to make their records clean. And Arlington for Justice is going to be paying the fees for those expungements. And we are encouraging people to tell family and friends to pre-register so that we can do things, efficiently and quickly. It's going to require that we run people's records, and we'll be bringing the records with us in a secure fashion and handling them, of course, securely there. But the idea is to start doing this on a regular basis so that people can, really have a good shot at second chances when, they had, a problem on their on their record, made a mistake, and then did the work to fix that and to demonstrate rehabilitation, and got the cases dismissed.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I know it came out today, and we were able to share it with the registrants, and it's going to, I think, on our Facebook as well. And we'll continue to lift that up as time gets closer to the date. I think December 3rd. I don't mind sharing with everyone on this call, for me, and it's not about JD, but a very historical date. For me and my lovely wife, we will be celebrating 30 years of marriage on December 3rd. She kept me around, y'all. Thank you, Parissa, for your time and attention, and also thank you for always being here to support the NAACP. All right. Any questions for Parissa real quick? I don't think so. So Mary Kadera, the school board member. Mary, are you still with us?
I am still with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see. I can hear you. Can I see you? Oh, I can see you. There you go.
Hi,
all right,
everybody.
You want to talk briefly about the VDOE proposed new history standards? And
I did. I just you probably read in the news last week, there were stories about in Virginia, the Virginia Department of Education had a hearing last Thursday that was very contentious about a proposed set of new history standards. And the context for that is that every 7 years in Virginia, the Virginia Department of Education updates a set of standards, and it's on kind of a rotating basis. So sometimes it's history, sometimes it's math, but every 7 years there's this regular cycle. The hope had been that when the history standards were revised this year, because it's their turn for that, much of the work of the Commission on African American History Education, which had been a Ralph Northam commission, appointed commission, are
you okay, Mary? Hello? Okay. Something undoubtedly just, let me go back to we have about 3 minutes left before we close it out. I do want to open up the floor. Let me remove my spotlight. Open up the floor for any, I do want to allow Mike. Mike, he'll we don't usually have some time carved out for our presidents. Our second VP is not with us. Third VP, anything you want to bring to the audience, the group, before I proceed to close? That was a test of the emergency broadcasting system, y'all. That means he may have stepped away. Okay. Any questions for our friends at Moms Demand Action? Detta's laughing. Any questions for our good friend Nancy, past commander of the VFW? I will reach out to Mary shortly to find out, make sure she's okay. With that being said, it's great to see Kamiko Lighty of Restorative Arlington with us today, and we're going to work together. Hopefully, we have in the past with Restorative Arlington as the NAACP in all parties to ensure we find new ways here in Arlington to help our youth and those that have been involved in the criminal justice system, alternatives to being incarcerated and getting things on their records, right? Things that we know long-term that follows you in large part all of your life. So thank you. With that being said, I'm going to ask the secretary to stick around for a few minutes. Again, thank you, Michael Shee, for being with us. This concludes our November meeting of the NAACP. Go get your tickets, $30, please. I'll be checking names. Enjoy your Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving, and enjoy this holiday festive season. Stay safe. The NAACP is here for you, and good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.